You now know the basics of Microsoft Agent Framework. Great, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. You want to learn more. I hear you, and I've got you covered. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kirk, and as promised, we're going to start looking deeper into Microsoft Agent Framework. Now, this video is going to be part of a series of videos where we start looking at topics that pertain to Microsoft Agent Framework. So with that said, you should probably subscribe if you're not already subscribed so you don't miss out. Now, I know you're eager to start building agents and looking at workflow, but I'm a firm believer in really mastering the foundations before you start going into more advanced topics. So with that said, let's start from the beginning and look at streaming. Let's start again with our AI agent. An AI agent first receives a task or request from a user. The agent will then do something called react, reason plus act. First, reasoning. The LLM will think in a structured way to plan the next step. The agent might use tools to act on its environment. To the user of an agent, we don't see this. We only see a response. But wait, what if we want to? Enter streaming. We can now run the agent as a stream of objects. Using Microsoft Agent Framework, it is as simple as calling the method runStream on our agent. What are the advantages of running in stream mode? First, faster received response time. Instead of waiting 10 or 20 seconds for a multiple paragraph answer, we can stream words as they appear. This is great for usability. Next, observability of reasoning. Remember react, reason plus act? Streaming allows you to watch the thought process or chain of actions in real time. This is great for debugging and more thorough demos. And next, better interactivity or control. In streaming mode, you can interrupt, cancel, or redirect the agent mid-response. We will see this later in the next tutorial when we talk about human in the loop. Welcome back. Okay, in the last tutorial on Microsoft Agent Framework, we built a basic agent that is actually a chat client. Then we built an agent with tool. We have one tool called Get Weather, and then we also did the reg tool. Now let's go back to our agent with tool here, and let's actually see what we get back as a response when we execute run. So let's do this and see what this object is. And of course, we get a response from our tool here, and the object itself is AgentRunResponse. So behind the scenes, it's actually streaming. This is actually streaming from the LLM, and we're just waiting for it to all come back so we can get the response. But now, let's actually run this as a stream. Okay, let's go here and copy our agent with tool. And let's just rename this agent with tool streaming. And the only thing we have to do here is change this bit of code here inside the main, say run as a stream. Let's comment out this. And run it as a stream. Now, I just want to comment this in here so you can see the difference is it's just run stream, and we're seeing if we have what's coming back, is it text, and then we're just printing it. And I'm going to go over this in a second, but let's just run this. And we see a response here. The weather in Toronto is currently cloudy with a high of 15. Okay, good. Now, when you look at this, you don't really know what's going on. Like, is this actually streaming? We can't see that. So let's go in here. Let's just add one line here to see what we get back. So if I go print, let's see what the object that gets returned here is. So let's save this and run it again. And you can see we get a bunch of objects back. And we see we get now AgentRunResponseUpdate, which is different than what we had before, which is AgentRunResponse. And we're seeing that this is actually a stream of objects. And so if I take this out again, so what actually is coming back here is we're getting, it's kind of hard to see here. So let's make let's make another change here so we can actually see what's going on. Okay, let's go in and make one more change to make this a bit more readable. So right now, we're gonna go in here and on update, we see we might have an array of contents. And of course, I'm still showing you what the object coming back is, and then outputting the text, but not having it as one line. So we run this again. Now we see we're getting content count type as 1 and always agent run response update. And then later on, we actually have some text in here. Then we see our response in here as the weather. So here is the data coming back as being streamed. That's great. Now let's look at see some of this stuff here does not return anything. Let's see what this actually returns. Let's make some more changes so we can really see what's going on. Okay, let me just comment this out so we can compare it to what I'm going to write again. And paste this in. Okay, here we go. Let's save this. Now we are running the stream again, and we're going to look inside on the update if we have contents. Remember, we did the array here, and we're always coming back as 1. Now we're going to see what that content type is, what the object is coming back. We might have text content, or a function call content, or a function result content. So now we can actually see the agent working in a React way. Remember, React was reaction and take action, which we explained in some of the other tutorials on agents. So we can actually see that when we start streaming. So let's clear this out again. Run this. Oops, I have an error. 1 second. I forgot to import my types here. Back to the top. Let's go in and import text content, data content, function call, function result. Run this again. And here we go. So now we can see what this is doing. Actually, let me just clear this and run this again. There we go. Okay, so we see the first thing that it does, what the agent does, is once it receives this request, what is the weather like in Toronto, it's going to call our tool, getWeather. So function call content. And it's going to have a bunch of arguments here passing in the parameters that the agent wants to do. So location equal to Toronto. So the function call. Then we have usage content. Then we have our result that comes back from the tool call. And we can see that in the code here. Our result, the tool says the weather in Toronto is cloudy with a high of 15. So if we look at our tool here, we can see the weather in location. So that's what exactly is coming back from our tool. Great. Then we have more streaming here. The text content, it's going to say the weather in Toronto is currently high of 15 degrees Celsius. That's a little hard to read. Okay, I just commented out everything that we just did here. Let's clear out this. And then let's add a bit more code again here just to run this again so we can compare what we are doing here to what we just did. So before we ran this, so actually we're doing the same thing, running the stream, but now we're just taking the content and we're seeing if the content is of type text content. And if it is, we're going to print it, but instead of doing it on every print statement as a new line, that's what this does. It's just gonna append it at the end, and flush is equal to true. That just forces output buffer to flush right away, so the text appears instantly. So let's just run this now. And now we have the response. The weather in Toronto is currently cloudy. So it looks very similar to what we had up here when we have if update text, but now we're actually going into the content and printing the text if it's a text content. So we see the streaming now. So here we saw everything that's coming back, that what the agent is doing, function call, function results, text, so we can actually see it all. And why am I going over this in such depth? Because you really have to understand streaming. So I think once you start using LMs, if you don't have this foundation down, we want to build up on this foundation, have a solid foundation, and we'll build up on top of this. So that is streaming. Remember, we also saw this way back when using AI agents. So streaming is not just about Microsoft Agent Framework. All the agentic frameworks do this, of course. And going to the front end in that AI agent, we use server sent events, which is how LLMs stream data as well. So we see the text slowly appearing on the screen instead of just waiting for everything at once. Hope that makes sense, but let's get this foundation down and we'll continue with the next lesson. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial on streaming with Microsoft Agent Framework. As I said, this is just the beginning, so if you're not already subscribed, you probably want to subscribe. Next, we're going to look at human in the loop, and then you're going to understand why we started with streaming. So until then, see you next time.